John, you got a terrible joke for us?
Yeah. Genius.
Do I?
Hey guys, why was the gift late to the party?
Tell us.
It was all wrapped up.
Oh, son of a bitch. I almost guessed that.
Welcome back to the episode. We missed you.
Hi.
All right.
Well, new guy,
New guy.
Hi.
Sir Brian.
Ooh, sir, you got knighted somehow on this podcast.
We were kind of going through Mystery of the Manor. It's kind of like a common thing that I typically do, how I greet some of my friends. It's like, sir, whatever, sir, you know, like just.
Sir Elton John.
Yeah. We were on Mystery of the Manor, and he's like, why is everybody knighted? Why is.
Who did that?
You did it. Yeah.
I did that?
Yeah.
That sounds like
I think it was
something I do. I just
taking
did
the
it right
vlog
now,
or
actually.
whatever. But it's just, it's a habit. It's a sign
That's
of
fine.
respect.
Yeah, I get it.
Sir Brian.
You got knights. You got knives. Wow. You got swords over there. I
Those
see
are
swords.
katanas?
So you could.
Brian's having a stroke.
Yay. Not yay.
He's gonna die.
You brought some material to riff off of, did you?
How many of those horror movies are you going to watch, by the way? None.
Of last week's.
No, there was. Oh, I already forgot the name. There
See,
was
that's why
one
I
that
wrote
he
some
mentioned. That I was like,
the girls? The
those
Tragedy
sounded
Girls?
Girls?
pretty good. So my daughter Jo really likes horror films, and so that's how I see most of them now. Is because I don't care for them,
Yeah.
but for
Does
my
she
way,
hold your hand?
well, it's just like a way for us to connect.
Gotcha.
So I'll
That's fair.
do it any way I can, and so if I have to watch horror films to connect with her,
I'll
that's
actually
what
send
will
you
happen.
some that I think she would like.
But my topic was going to be
I'm so excited.
real hauntings you guys have experienced, real ghost stories you've had happen. And me personally, I really didn't experience much in my life until I met my wife.
She's a haunting.
She is pretty spooky.
She's super spooky.
Kind of like Paranormal Activity, like there's a haunting that's attached to her type of thing.
Well, not to
Maybe.
her, but so when we first started dating, she was living at a house down at like 50th and L
And this
area.
was, what, 2010? Somewhere in there?
Yes.
By
2010.
Dunkin' Donuts.
I'm just trying to set the scene for the
I don't think Dunkin' Donuts was in Nebraska yet.
Nope.
Oh. Okay.
Is there a Dunkin' Donuts?
I don't know.
It's over by the bank.
What bank?
The bank that's off of like 60th. But go further down, there's a Dunkin'.
Yeah, we're talking about like 48th.
Yes.
Yeah, 48th and
By the cemetery.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Down
she
the
lived.
street
I mean, it was a house that was built in the 1900s. Who knows
You're the
what
opposite
was
way.
connected
48th
to
and
it.
L? Oh, that's on Q. Sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about between Grover and Center.
He said L.
I did at first, but yeah, it was like 48th and U. I suppose
Yeah.
is the
This
official-
changes everything.
changes
does.
the whole.
And the only reason I know is because, A, I've been there and my ex lived down the street.
Well, you would be by the cemetery too, right?
No. Cemetery's way further down.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, the cemetery.
Yeah.
Off of 48th.
It's 40. It's
Yes,
It's from
That
Q
is
to, I thought it was like Q.
no
R.
It's like,
Q to R.
it's Harrison, I thought, or Giles. One of the, or it's probably Harrison. Anyway, that's not
36.
important.
No, it's 36. It doesn't matter. These people that
Isn't
are
that where,
listening to us do not care.
Isn't that where Shane's dad is?
Anyway, so yeah, we're going to go around, and if you guys have had actual ghost experiences, I wanted to hear about them. And I can start off with some of mine being at my wife's house. So I had never really, I have one ghost story, well, a couple ghost stories that we had when me, John, and Jeremy, and a couple other people used to go ghost hunting in cemeteries.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll come back around to that. Really, the real first experiences I ever had was when I first started dating my wife in her house.
Because she's spooky.
You dated her house?
Dated her house.
You're right. It is Q, but you're still pretty far down the street, by the way.
Shut up, John.
Move on.
You know how I am.
For fuck's sake.
So,
Why are you here?
It's on the other side of the interstate.
one of the first few nights that I stayed over at her house, 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Chugga chugga?
Yeah, after Chukka Chukka.
Okay.
Had even been sleeping for a little bit after Chukka Chukka. Awoken to
Lazy.
woken to a going across whatever. I don't know what the sound is. And I'm like, Jen.
Maybe it's just like the differential of the space where like air gets in and sucks it out.
Maybe.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
This isn't be a dick and debunk things.
Yes, it is.
Not yet, anyway.
Not
Let him
yet.
finish, then
No,
we can
so-
debunk it.
I wake Jen up and I'm like, what is that? Do you hear that? She's like, oh, yeah, it's just the table moving across the kitchen.
What?
What? She's like, yeah, it happens all the time. The kitchen moves across the kitchen floor. Sure enough, go out there. Yeah, her kitchen table and chairs are all the way on the other side of the room.
Magnets.
And magnets. 100%.
Shut up.
So that was one of the experience I was having. And that would happen often. Multiple nights I would stay the night and you could just hear it crossing across the kitchen room.
And she's cool with. How long was she there? She grew up there?
No, she did not grow up there. She lived there a couple years. My wife is actually somewhat of a medium. So she's not freaked. She's dealt with this kind of stuff since she was a kid. She's always like heard ghost or seen ghost. I think it's mostly she just hears and connects with previous things. We'd actually have to ask her more about it, which I didn't really buy into the medium thing, which we're kind of going off subject now. But until my father has been passed away for a while. And then my father started coming through to her. But that's a whole different subject. We're getting off subject.
You are. It's weird.
Some of the other things I experienced at the house were being in the bedroom and seeing blue orbs just going across the room. There was one time I was sitting at the computer desk in her living room, and an old lady just came up and whispered in my ear.
I am too old for you.
I think that was basically it that I can remember. I forgot about the scariest one. Our daughter Jo, random night, you hear all these toys going off in the living room. And so we go out there, and literally all the toys in the living room are just going off. Like robots moving across the room. But these are toys that are supposed to move, but you're supposed to push a button and they're supposed to go. But they're all going off. And our daughter Jo, who at the time would have been about 3, is just standing in the middle of the room, eyes pure black. Pure black. But she was not responding. You're like, Jo. And eventually my wife just picked her up and took her into the bedroom. But super freaky that her pupils were fully dilated. Fully dilated. So that was the kind of the experiences that I had at her place. I was kind of curious if you guys have ever experienced any kind of ghost hauntings or things that have happened to you.
Lawn man.
He used to be a ghost hunter as well.
I used to be a ghost hunter as well, yeah. Back in college.
AJ man.
Yeah. Back in college.
Oh, I'm still calling him Lawn Man.
Sir AJ.
Shut up.
Back in college, there was a guy who was doing a book tour. He wrote the Haunted Iowa Road Maps Guide. And it was something along those lines. I can't think of what it was. But he was at the Southridge Mall doing like a little book thing. And I think there was like 7 people there. And I just happened to be working at the mall at the time. So I went in and listened to him do his little speech. And then he was selling his books afterwards. And I'm like, I'll buy one. What the hell? And it was like broke down. It's like in Ames. And then it's like this. And blah, 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 blah. Cities all throughout Iowa. And then what's haunted in them. And I just, for some reason, I thought the guy was a giant prick. It just set me off the wrong way. And I'm like, I'm going to literally buy this. And I told him this. I'm like, I'm literally going to buy your book. And I'm going to go through this book.
And debunk
And I'm going to debunk every single
That's
thing.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I started doing that. And he's like, good luck. Have fun. He's like, thanks for buying
my book. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Already got your money.
Yeah. So we started going through it. Like, and there was a whole bunch of things. We started just around our little area. Then we'd go to like Winterset, then we'd go to Ames, and then to Strawberry Hill, and then down to Ankeny and Urbandale, and it was fine. Like everything was super easy to debunk. Like you'd go to this cemetery in this middle of the cornfield, and if you stood just here, at so-and-so time when the wind's blowing, you can hear screaming, but you grow up in the country and you're like, that's not screaming, that's wind blowing through corn.
Yeah.
Like, just shit you know.
Right.
Well, we're going through this book, and we've been doing it in about a year. And we found this cemetery in a town called Madrid, Iowa. And we wanted to do it official, didn't want to get it arrested from going to cemetery. So we called the city sheriff, and we're like, hey, just letting you know, we're going to go to the cemetery.
Look at you, a respectful ghost hunter.
Right. I don't want to get cops rolling up.
No, I get it.
Cops rolling up in the middle
we
of the night.
didn't do that.
And the sheriff's like, oh, yeah, awesome. Thanks for letting me know.
Right.
It's right outside of town. But if you want, there's another one that's about a mile
He's
away.
giving you suggestions?
Yes, he was super
my
cool.
God. We should have done this.
Jim Brown was his name. Officer.
That's a fake story.
Sheriff Jim Brown. Yeah, so he's like, you could do that. There's another one. It's called Mount Hope. It's about a mile down the road from there. That one's super creepy too. That one's a little tiny small one, super creepy down. Like, okay. So we went to the one that was in the book. Nothing weird happened. We went down to the Mount Hope one, and we drive in. It's like a setup in a square, the driveway. So we pull in, make the first turn, and then we turn right. And it's I would say it's about a 200-yard straight line, and then it turns left again. Well, we make that first left, and when your headlights kind of turn when it's super dark, you can only see so far. Well, right at the end of the headlights, I swore someone walked out of the headlight range. And I'm like, well, that was neat. And so we made the left and kept driving, and nothing spectacular. So we went back into town, got some food, and we're like, let's go look there one more time. So we went and we drove back through, and randomly, just in the middle of the turn, we decided to stop. Like, we're stopping right here in the cemetery. I'm going to jump out, take some pictures. So I get out of the car. Tracy's in the front seat and the driver's seat. I get out. I'm taking pictures, standing around. I get in the front of the car, and I'm taking pictures, kind of looking. All of a sudden, I look in the mirror, or not in the mirror, but in the windshield, and like her eyes are white and her hands are on the steering wheel, and you can see her gripping for all it's worth. So I just kind of look around, and I look to my left. And I look at a headstone, and all you can see are two little hands and like the eye, like the tip of the nose and eyes looking up over top of it. And I was like, nope, fuck this. So I ran, jumped in the car, and even before I could get the door shut, she's slamming on the gas, and we're taking off.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, that was so cool. Did you see that? That was so scary. And she didn't say a word. So we were about 2 miles away, and she just pulled over and started bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I know it was scary. It says, okay, what's going on? Wouldn't tell me, wouldn't talk. Like 3 days go by, and I finally get her to talk about it. And I'm like, was it that scary? And she's like, no, that's not what was bad. It's like the little kid was fine. But 3 rows behind the little kid, there was like a darker figure coming at the little kid. And so there was such like a mother reaction in me that wanted to protect the little kid.
So
that,
running
like,
away?
Well, no, like
They're running towards the kid?
like wanted to protect the little child so much.
She did.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah, she like came over her so bad wanting to protect the little child that she had to get out of there because she knew she couldn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That would sound more selfish, like she was just trying to protect herself.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck that
Protect
kid.
me. I got it.
I thought you were going to say it was like the figure was like her dead niece or something.
No,
It was
no.
like,
Just a random. And we went back during the day, and there was a
there was a midget.
headstone for a little girl named Sarah. So
It's always Sarah.
yeah.
We have when we went to cemeteries, we caught a few things, not visually.
Raccoon herpes.
And Jeremy actually has this audio somewhere.
Yeah, he has it somewhere.
I don't know where, but the cemetery actually off of 36 and L or whatever. I was alone at a 7-year-old cemetery with one of those
Headstone.
headstone, not cemetery. Yeah, that 7-year-old's headstone
Grave.
with one of
cemetery, yeah.
those just
EMT.
microphones that you talk into.
Yak back.
Not the yak bag. Which is essentially was just a handheld recorder.
Yeah.
A tuck boy. Yeah.
And so I was just talking to a kid, and as I'm talking to it, you can hear the kid say, "Help me." And so we got that, and Jeremy has it somewhere. So at some point, if he can find it, we could put it on the podcast because you can hear the kid go, "Help me."
I think when you
Or it says Leslie. I can't.
Leslie.
The other time at a cemetery was at Alex Day's grandma's grave.
Alex is getting a lot of pub today.
Yeah, we were talking to his grandma, and on the microphone you can hear in the background is one of those old timey-wimey.
Music box?
Yeah, you put the record on it, and it's got the big
like-
metal,
all the feedback, the static feedback,
Like
and all that.
the speaker phone
the big
thing?
metal
Yeah.
speaker phone things. I
Right.
don't know what they were called, but you
It's
can
a
hear
something
that.
phone.
Yeah, something phone. And apparently, according to Alex, the music that was playing was music that she would listen to all the times. But it was very early 1920s kind of music playing, but it sounded like it was playing on one of those something phones. So that was our few things we caught that I am aware of that we caught for the cemetery stuff.
I mean, there's always the orbs, and I'm not a big orb guy. I think it's just dust and particles and all that stuff. But yeah, for cemetery, I'm trying to think if there was anything else from the cemetery. I do remember the Help Me, but no, there's like spooky orbs. Like I said, everybody kept saying that. I remember the first time we went to the Black Angel, like we were fucking terrified.
I was just about to bring that up.
The one in Council Bluffs?
Yeah, we were absolutely terrified. And then we ended up like, if you see like our after pictures, like I'm putting my hand on its ass and shit, like and posing with it. Like I was like, fuck. It's just intimidating, like the lure going up to it. Now it's like a stadium because there's like cameras and lights and you can't
there's
do anything
pictures
there.
of me with my balls in her hand.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why I have bad luck for the rest of my life because I fucked with the Black Angel. But you have a Black Angel story?
We went up there a few times as like, high schoolers and stuff. No, I mean, I think that is one of the biggest things for like local people who it's a tourist attraction, if you will. Mm-hmm. But so many people claim to see something. It's like, well, yeah, you're going over there as it's starting to get dark, shadows are moving and all this. So you think you're seeing a movement. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this was standing this way.
Especially
it's like,
with cars passing by, the lights moving. Yeah.
There's pictures on my Facebook of holding her hand and.
Yeah, they were on my face. I don't know where they are now.
John's absolutely correct. We were intimidated at first because the lore was, if you looked her straight in the eye or whatever, you're
based with the story before you get there.
I did all these things and my life sucks. So now might be something to this.
Some of the ghost hauntings I know of you is at your uncle's house.
Yeah, I was
going to
bring those up here in a minute.
Those are spooky.
So my uncle lived in a house down the street from Ryan. Off of 108th and Maple-ish, 102nd and Maple, that neighborhood behind like the bowling. What's that bowling alley you guys bowled at all the time?
Maplewood
Lane. Yeah, Maple. Duh, idiot.
That bowling lane on the bowling lane road.
The bowling lanes and the things. But anyway, it's over there. He and his wife at the time used to experience all sorts of just stuff being moved and shadows. At the end of their bed, on like the bedpost, they had like Christmas lights on it. And one day he woke up, he felt like something was like pressing down on his legs, his feet. And he wakes up and there's just a dark figure standing at the edge of his bed. And so they called, a medium or something out to talk about it. And I guess there was like a little girl who died in a fire on that property or like that land, X amount of years ago or whatever. So they would always have stuff like that move. So the two personal incidents I had there was one, me and my brother and his wife's two kids were all downstairs. That's where we stayed. Their rooms were downstairs. To set the picture, like the stairs to go up and down and like the front doors like here, there's stairs to go up and stairs to go down. And then if you walk up, the entire house is open. You can see from the kitchen to the living room, the bedroom and the baths are like back here. So you can see from house, one side to the other.
The rooms aren't like separated.
The rooms are separated, but the living room and kitchen isn't.
Okay.
So, I could see the kitchen door all the way to the living room window. But like I said, there's a little hallway to go back into the bathroom. And so I was thirsty or something and had to go up the stairs. And I go up the stairs and I turn and look at the kitchen this way. And there's just a little girl sitting in the kitchen.
Don't be scared.
And I froze.
Oh, hell no.
Like, who is it? Like, I didn't know if it was like my own reflection from the patio door or if a neighbor was just standing outside the door. And then I realized it's not against the door. It's just to where the kitchen is, like the cabinets and stuff.
Do you think that you look like a little girl?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay.
When I was younger, yeah, Shut up.
He imagines.
That's what I really am on the inside.
Okay.
But anyway, so I freaked out and ran back downstairs and told the boys about it. And her sons, Jamie and Jason, they were like, no, absolutely not. I'm like, go look. There's a fucking little girl up there. And they're like, nope, not going to do it. Nobody would do it. And I was like, I would get a few steps up and then like I don't know if it was my brain playing tricks with me or what, but you'd hear like a little giggle or something. And I'd be like, nope, I'm done. Like, I'm not moving from down here until the lights come on, whatever. And then the second time we were over there for a wrestling pay-per-view, it was me, our friend Rob, and our friend Dan. And my uncle and them, they had left, but they had one of those like illegal cable boxes back in the day that you can like pick up the pay-per-views and stuff like that. So we were over there. It was probably like a WCW pay-per-view. So this is like 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. Well, it'd have to be 2001 if it was WCW, but we're sitting there and we had told the stories to Dan, and Dan, he gets kind of, so he's like looking around for everything. And all of a sudden we're sitting there watching the pay-per-view and the microwave goes off, like starts, like it's cooking something. I'm like, what the hell? And we go over and we open it. There's nothing in there. And we look down and there's this little stuffed animal just sitting below the microwave. We're like, what the hell is this? They had found a photo of the little girl who had burned, and she had the same stuffed animal in the photo. So Dan was freaked out the rest of the night. He made somebody stand in the bathroom with him while he went to pee. Like, he was all like not having it. But those are the two incidents that I personally have had, especially at that house. I know one real quick. My dad told me a story when he was little. Or no, this is my mom. Well, my mom and my dad have one, but my dad's one more interesting. My uncle Augie, he doesn't believe in ghosts at all. Like, to this day, he'll tell you no, even though this story happened. They were staying at this old house in Texas that they used to live in, and every night my dad would see, because he could see the kitchen from his bedroom, and he would see this little twinkle of light over in the corner, and he'd be like, what is this? And one day he got up and went to go see what it was, and there was just a figure of a girl, and the twinkle was like coming from her eye. Almost not like a bright twinkle, just a faint emit of light coming from it. And so he was 8, so he said he just ran back into the room, and he told people. Nobody believes him, obviously. You just saw things. It was probably a bad dream, that kind of stuff. And then he said one day his uncle was staying over, and he got up and he went into the kitchen, and he heard him talking in the kitchen, like, "Can I help you? What did you need something?" And he comes in, and he wasn't talking to anybody. And he goes, "Who are you talking to?" He's like, no one. Like, he immediately was like, what the fuck just happened? No one.
If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
So that's always kind of creeped me out from my dad's point of view, but that's the only thing he's ever talked about, like, ghost wise. But I've even asked his uncle about that, and he's like, well, never happened. So was that a dream? I don't know. One of those deals.
Who originally told you that story?
My dad.
Okay, but is he older?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Or
yeah.
Not older than you, but I know your dad's older than you.
My dad's older than me.
Math adds up.
And his uncle is older than him.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that age really means anything, but yeah. No, when I'm kind of usually very skeptical about like a lot of these things. Usually when people are based with something, like they come in with the expectations of certain things, there's so many different, like dilated eyes, you can't necessarily pinpoint something like that. There's foods that can dilate. There's certain medical conditions that can sort of dilate.
Right. I go into situations like, okay, there's a logical explanation to most of this stuff. That little girl thing, I still don't know what it could have been.
There's so many ghost hunters or whatever who's like, they love it. They have a passion for it, but they admit that they've never seen anything. I'm not saying that there is no such thing as ghosts. I don't have a positive belief in ghosts myself. There are certain things that you probably can't explain, such as like certain environmental factors where there's like low frequency, sound waves that emit that kind of gives you a sense of unease. Or if you're based with like a story where like there's a little girl who died here, so that sort of story.
Right, your brain starts.
So
power of
pareidolia and all that. Yeah. So, or like if you listen to a sound wave and then somebody suggests, yeah.
What's weird,
what
with the cemetery,
was supposed to be?
Blue, I don't know,
blue lightning.
but like,
I heard both. When I re-listened to the podcast, I heard the opposite of what I was hearing on the podcast. I was like, what the fuck?
I will say when we heard the voice, whether it says "help me" or whatever, we were listening back to the recording, and when the voice came up, all of us stopped. We all heard the voice, so the voice was definitely suddenly there. 100% with the pupil.
The noise was there.
Yeah, the noise.
Is it a voice? I don't know. I'm still.
But yeah, most
power of suggestion.
But yeah,
does
no,
make it
I
sound
hear
like
you
it,
on
yeah.
like you do try to rationalize it. Especially like so with my daughter with the dilated eyes. That wasn't really the impressive. That was more just like what the hell. The impressive part was like multiple toys are going off. That's freaky.
It was like an EMP or something went off, but like the opposite.
Yeah, the opposite
surge.
made everything go off.
Battery
the
operated?
kitchen moving across the floor.
The kitchen moving across the floor.
The kitchen table moving across the floor. It's
is
like
the building on a slant.
yeah, like that's yeah.
Oh.
That one I can't.
Fun fact, it was
that
on
one I can't
wheels.
explain.
Yeah.
The lady talking in my ear. Okay, that could just be my brain working with me.
It's
Definitely.
like there's psychological.
Or it could even be like a bug flying
A bug.
in your ear, and
Yeah.
it
the
just
blue
sounds
orbs
like
I
it,
saw
yeah.
could have been just something in my eye. So those
orbs
are
are
like
the worst for
okay,
me.
those are easy to brush off. But yeah, the kitchen table that's not so easy.
Yeah,
to
there's
brush
psychological phenomenons that occur. You know, like we're pattern seeking things, and we kind of want to have an explanation for certain things. You know, like I said, if somebody has like a legend or lore of a certain story, it's like, oh, that's in my mind now.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna look for it, and there it is.
Like AJ said, power suggestion.
What
Yeah.
was weird about the kitchen table is it was almost like whoever was doing it didn't like where we had the kitchen table. They were
Was it
That's
always
not where I
because they always tried to move it. It was almost in the same area every time.
So if it's always going back to the same spot, maybe there are grooves, or maybe there's certain water
Could be, but it was
molecules
a
or whatever.
Pretty
that,
goddamn heavy table.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, certain. Not
Maybe
saying this is what.
Maybe
No,
you
no,
think
no.
it's heavy because you just chuck your energy level is low, whatever. Oh,
I mean, we've had stuff happen at the house we live in now, and it was prior to my father passing away.
that's his gaunt roommate, who attacked Jeremy. I guess he knocked his hat off or something.
Yeah, he's still freaked out about that. But before Dawn passed away, I would be laying in bed and my bedroom door would slam shut when it would be open because I'd be listening for Mox. Would just slam shut. And I remember one night it slammed shut and I just go, that was uncalled for. And then you could hear the handle turn and it just slowly opened back up.
Ooh.
And I was like, fuckers.
You want to try that again?
I remember being there and like sitting with Mox in the living room and him sleeping on my lap and hearing crying over the baby monitor. And it's like, well, that's not going to work because the baby is right here. Like,
See that?
it's like stuff that's like,
creepy kids.
it's like, it's not, it's like, okay, this is fucking weird. Am I scared by it? No. Is it, what, do I think it's dangerous? No. But is it unusual? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the creepy kid thing. I've had many experiences. I've already said something on this, like on the podcast.
Well,
But
also at real quick, at her house, these kids would come out of nowhere when they would like wake up in the middle of the night. Like we're over there all watching a movie or something. And there would be like a kid just pop up out of nowhere. They were so quiet walking through the hallway. I was like, what the fuck?
that's so ominous. Like,
Yeah.
So where our bedroom is, the bathroom is right across, and there's a skylight that shines kind of towards our doorway. And every now and then you wake up with like a 2-year-old just standing in the doorway, like, go to bed. Go to bed.
Kids are
away.
definitely creepy.
Go away.
Nope. I've seen this movie.
I'll be laying in bed and all of a sudden I'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10 over the baby monitor. And I'm like, oh my God, why?
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 He just really likes 10.
Kids are definitely creepy. There's
It's funny.
a
That's
few-
actually his wife.
There's a few times that you almost,
That's
oh my God, you're so glad that I didn't just like sidekick you
Right.
across the room.
That's a brown down.
He'll just
for
walk.
sure.
He'll walk in and he'll be like, Dad, and then he'll run off before I can open my eyes, and I'll be like,
The fuck was that?
well, I'm haunted by an annoying child.
It's like even before they walk. I mean, both of my daughters have done this. Like we've had when they just stare at an empty chair. I'm like, what are you looking at? What are you doing? Are you
Stop
just
it.
trying to climb up there, or are you looking at something?
Just stop that right now.
Yeah.
That's
don't do
not okay.
So Justin being the most skeptical, you haven't had anything that made
I've
you
had
go,
things-
maybe.
I've had things where we used to do a lot of breaking and entering as kids and stuff. So my sister, she was one of the people who, and she loves to turn things up a little bit. She's always, I don't want to compare her to like your wife or whatever, but she always thought that she had some extra senses or something like that. And it's like, you know, walk into, do you feel that? It's like, you are the type of person who wants to feel special in certain things. So I know this is probably where you're coming from. And then we went into a abandoned factory around our area, and she was talking about how like she felt like she got pushed down the stairs, and she was blaming us for it. And she was wearing like this low cut top with a zip up hoodie or something like that.
Keep explaining.
And when we finally got out, and she's like, "Well, look, I got marks right here."
I already got it for you here, right?
She would retell this story over the years. And I remember exactly seeing what all happened. It was like, yeah, she kept on touching herself, so they're probably, you know, irritated a mark or something like that.
Slow down.
But then after a while, her supple breath.
Oh wow.
No, she would say that the story turned into there was a bloody handprint on her chest.
Oh jeez,
like,
yeah.
no, there fucking wasn't. I saw it. There wasn't. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I've also had experiences where
didn't you guys go to the raccoon jail or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I didn't. There's nothing. They show you the tapes and then they prompt you what they're looking for.
Well, that's how the Villisca Axe House was too. They show you, you know, you watch like an hour video or whatever. And
right.
Then
and we didn't have anything happen when we went. I've been to the Villisca Axe House.
Well, we did go and I hit a deer, but
we didn't experience anything when we were there.
Rob had the ball roll back to him, but like you were saying earlier, I mean, that's
every house in Iowa, the ball rolls back to you.
Like the Villisca Axe
But
murder
I will
house.
tell you, the vibe in the attic where they hid is
that
vibe.
it
It's
does
like,
feel weird in the
that's-
attic. I
that's
will agree
weird.
with that.
But again, power of suggestion, probably.
We used to break into that all the time as kids before it became commercial.
Oh really?
Yeah, because
I did have them.
We live in Glenwood. Well, I went to school in Glenwood, which was the main road that goes to Villisca. Right. It's like 35 miles out of Villisca. So
we know I had a deer hit on that one.
we would drive whenever somebody new would move to town or someone would get cocky. We would just
Bukkake?
We just throw them in the car and say, "Okay, we're taking you to the local legend." And there was a back door or back window of the house that was never locked.
Oh, cool.
And we would just sneak them into the house and be like, "This is the Villisca Axe."
That's probably how they
house.
got in.
That's awesome.
The murderers.
Yeah, maybe.
You use that same door?
That would be cool. But
And
you
the-
never experienced anything, huh?
Well, no, and then the people bought it and really commercialized it up. And, But
Yeah,
this
they
was
all
back in
sign out
like
front.
99, 2000.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I had a friend who worked there.
Or something like that.
He said pretty much everything in there was all replaced. Nothing is original. They had
It was
secrets as far as like the
gutted.
slanted, you know, the marble thing, whatever. There's speakers and stuff. And usually I'm very skeptical when I see speakers. One place, I know it's going to be other places.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys orchestrate things. So, and you just take money. It's like, I am very skeptical of certain things because we live in humans scam people.
Right.
Yeah. So
From someone
Especially now with AI and all that shit, dude. You can fake
Yeah,
anything.
soon it's gonna. I mean, yeah, soon we're not
like
gonna
Blue
know
Ivy or
anything.
Ivy Edge or whatever her name was.
From someone who used to work at a commercial haunt, I know exactly how they scam everybody too. So
Yeah.
we used to throw rocks and we'd go up to the We'd go up to the attic floor, and it was the old vent system where it was just a solid vent that went from floor to floor to floor. And we'd position people to sit by the vents, and we'd go up and just drop small pebbles in the vents, and we'd hear it drop, and we'd hear people scream from floor to floor to floor as it fell. That's so cool. It's like, yay,
it wasn't,
we're
AJ.
ripping people off.
You're giving them an
I know
experience.
Jeremy believed his old house was haunted, and I had 2 experiences there too.
Jeremy thought everything is haunted when we did the Ouija board. He thought the dog barking was because
It's like,
of
do
the
you guys
Ouija
feel
board.
that? I did have a
we were-
story about when I was at early teens or whatever. I was in one of my best friend's older sister's room, and we did a Ouija board thing. And
What
she
else
had
were you doing in there?
just that, unfortunately. No chaka chaka. He didn't want to do his sister. I didn't want to, Anyways, so there was a candle up there on the door, and they claimed that they witnessed the candle move. I'm like, the candle is lit. We're watching bouncy shadows on the corner of the wall.
Right.
So it's like, it could be anything. You're not seeing, I didn't see anything move. I was looking right at it myself. But they're like, and this is one of those things where the story became from one side of the thing to the other side. It's like, it's not. Like, fucking say what it actually is, though. Oh.
I used to light candles all the time, and then like one day there was like a fly in my apartment, and so with the flickering, something flies by, and you're like, whoa, like your mind plays tricks on you, obviously.
Gust of wind or whatever. I mean, like if the fan's on, even in the other room,
or if like
it can
your
affect
door or window's not shut all the way, a little stream of air can come in and make like a whistling. Right. I've seen all this.
It's like your house is not 100% sealed off.
There used to be a show, I can't remember, it was on the Travel Channel, I believe. Me and my ex watched it all the time, and we would she'd be like, sit there and be like, okay, let's see how you debunk these. And like, I would debunk every video. I'd be like, this is how that's done. This is how that, I get it. It's a TV show, and some people are going to believe it. If you get a few people to believe it, cool. Then they share it, and I get how the world works.
A lot of this stems, I guess, my skepticism with this, a lot of this stems with early age religion, and then also a very big fascination with magic, kind of also going with like the Honest Liar, James Randi type of thing. It's like, I really always want to try to figure something out, and there's usually also a logical explanation for something like that. When somebody settles on something, it's kind of, to me, it's lazy. It's like you find an excuse for something and you work with it. It's like, that's fine. That's an explanation. It's like, but it's not always accurate though.
Right.
You can accidentally be right. But
I take the paranormal kind of like the same way I do take magic and whatnot. Like if I'm going into an area that's supposedly haunted and I want to be scared or I want it to be haunted, suspension of disbelief is an amazing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you want to be scared and you want it to be haunted, that can be the most scariest haunted fucking place you've ever been to in your life.
Right.
You can go in there and every little thing can be a ghost. But if you go in there with a logical mind, obviously you can disregard and discount and discredit anything that happens. You can find a logical explanation to. But it's like with magic, it's obviously magic is the purest form of art because they are not lying to you by lying to you.
Yeah.
They are coming out saying, I'm going to lie to you. And they do it right to your face. And you love every second of it. That's pretty much what paranormal is too.
Some of those reactions, I was like, no, you're really magic. It's like, I just fucking told you.
Just telling you I am lying to you.
Some of those I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, what's his name that's always on fucking Kimmel? And he like has frogs come out of his throat and shit. Like, I don't know how he does that. That's amazing. I don't think it's David Blaine. It might be.
That's something he's done some stomach exercises to.
But along with lines of what Lonnie was saying, like, if you go into a haunted situation and you want to find a logical thing, when you can't find a logical thing, I think that amps you a little more. You're like, holy shit, man, this I can't figure this out. Like, it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush trying to oh shit, I can't figure this out. Like,
also the brain
it's probably something logical, but I can't figure this out. And now I'm intrigued by it. And you think about it more than you would maybe if you were thinking it was paranormal.
Yeah. The brain is not a reliable tool always, and especially when there's so many other factors as far as like obstructions, lighting, environmental factors, sounds elsewhere that's probably echoing.
Right.
It's like there's usually something.
Yeah, we don't know how many dimensions there are.
That's also true.
There's a fifth dimension, and so it's just someone that we can't see that's interacting with our environment that we can't see, and
it's definitely an awesome idea. I don't think you should stop and just say that's all it is, and explore it for sure.
No. Oh yeah, 100%.
How much edibles do you have
with me?
How many?
Oh, I just bought a new pack not yesterday, but day before yesterday of 50s.
It's already gone.
Yeah, you feel strong.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I take something, I don't want to feel myself.
Dude, I take a 10 and it's perfect.
I don't take drugs for fun. I take them to turn into Jello.
Okay.
I take white people edibles.
The only time I turned into Jello was that concert when I ate those gummies that melted in my pocket.
Rich white people say that.
Rich people edibles?
Rich white.
No, I don't take rich people edibles. I go to the pheromones that's under the viaduct in Council Bluffs.
Well,
He's from Iowa.
But the amountage. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, that was fun. Thanks
you
for sharing. If our listeners have anything to share, please do.
We'll end with a joke. We'll start the next one with the joke. Tune in next week. Thank you guys. And I will be talking about Ghost eventually.
If you enjoyed this podcast, well, that's not all. Stay tuned next week for the continuation of this episode, whenever these things come out. Shalom.